welcome everybody. Everybody's kind of joining and filing in. I think I turned down the music a little bit there. I always like to have a little good background music. Yeah, there's the LBOW in here. So I am Steven. I go by the Voice of DeFi. You can find me on Twitter at Voice of DeFi. And every Friday, we come in here and do at 1730 UTC a really good AMA where we can learn about new projects. Sometimes they're NFT projects, sometimes they are crypto projects, and sometimes they're just other ambassadors around in the Traderverse universe. And so I'm excited today. A lot of what I do is in crypto, even more so than NFTs at times. So I'm really excited to speak with Kounotori today. They have a stork as their logo, and you can see that as a few of their PFPs in here, and which sometimes is a little refreshing that they didn't decide to go dog. They went stork, and we'll learn a little bit more about them today and kind of about what makes their project unique. One thing I might ask from you that are in here right now, as we've kind of filled up the room a little bit, in the lower right-hand corner of your phone, there's a little icon there. It should be a little blue circle. If you can hit that and tweet out this room, that'll get as many people as we can get in here and help to have everybody learn about the Kounotori token the most as possible. There's many of you in here that are from this the Kounotori community and want to know kind of the latest and greatest, but also we want to make sure those outside the community learn about this so they can maybe hear about the token for the first time. So make sure you do share out the room so we can kind of learn the most about that. If you're also new in here and you're like, well, I'm glad to be hearing a Kounotori, but I have no clue what Traderverse is. What's this about? Well, if you can look at the account that I am with and maybe give it a follow, Traderverse is a soon-to-be released audio-video streaming platform and really a full-fledged social media network completely revolving around trading. So whether that be trading NFTs, trading crypto, trading stocks, it will have everything to do with that, even some assisted, AI machine learning sort of trading companions that'll be there inside, baked into the platform, all to be released this year with the AV streaming platform being released as soon as next month, as soon as March. So make sure you give Traderverse a follow so you can kind of learn a little bit as it grows and be there as it is launched. So with me here is Kounotori, and I've got pretty much the entire team pulled up here. If I have forgotten anyone and I sent out an invite and for some reason that invite has expired, holler at me and I'll be happy to send out the proper invite to get it done. Matter of fact, Hawk, I'm going to make you a co-host so you can invite people as well if you see somebody that needs to be up here. How you doing, Hawk, by the way? I should say what's up.
I'm great. Thanks for having me, and we appreciate this whole entire community for coming on today and talking about their project. We're really excited to hear about the things that you guys have accomplished so far and have coming up. So great community. You guys are really strong, and we love to hear more about what you're doing and get us more excited about your project.
Did you get a new microphone, Hawk, or are you just coming in hot today? You sound so good.
I'm coming in hot, brother. This AMA has got me fired up. I've been looking forward to it for a couple weeks now.
Okay, yeah, I can tell. You see, you slammed a Red Bull. You sound so good. Just wondering what's up. Well, let's learn a little bit about the Kounotori community. The Kounotori, and I hope I'm saying it right, and I think I have from my research. I try to research any AMA that I've done, but I'll let you guys answer that question first. I've said it about 20 times now in my introduction. Now's when you tell me I've said it wrong. Have I said it correctly?
Yeah, it's correct.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. Knocking it out of the park so far then. Well, let's learn a little bit about Kounotori a bit here in a moment. But first, I want to know a little bit more about the team here. Maybe you guys can introduce yourselves. I want to know your origin story. How did you guys meet? How did you get into blockchain and crypto? Some of you may have more interesting stories than others on that. I just kind of want to know how the team kind of formed together.
I mean, yeah, sure, I can start. My name's Martin. I'm head of HR for Kounotori. So my role is essentially just organising the various people behind the scenes and as well as talking to people and communicating, delegating roles and whatnot. But essentially, I think my story is probably similar to most of the team here as we came from similar sorts of places as investors where we worked we worked sort of together with other teams and other tokens as community leads and moderators in the past. And, you know, from that, we witnessed a lot of good decisions and bad decisions. But from that, we always had in the back of our minds that we wanted to create our own token and build something for ourselves based on the insights that we'd gained from working as moderators and as community managers for other tokens. So yeah, that's me basically.
Anybody else want to? I just want to give an opportunity for anybody else. First of all, you're Captain Smith. Okay, just want to see who answered. Anybody else want to give an answer to that, or maybe you just say you want to echo what he said?
Oh, come on, Jan. I'll go after you.
Okay. Well, so as Martin said, basically, we were investors in many different altcoins and small communities, and eventually one particular token that we were all a part of, and we were a big part of their community. We were moderators, community managers, and so on. And basically, the developer of that token scammed us, essentially, all of us. And at that point, we went for a little longer, investing in different tokens. But at one point, we got together and we started discussing launching our own token. And if you look at the way we've set everything up with Kounotori, you're going to see that it's very much made from the investor's point of view. The way we've made it is our aim was to make the token be a token that we would feel comfortable and safe investing in and holding and being part of their community. So essentially, we've tried to make it as safe as we could.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I was waiting for that answer because, you know, I do several AMAs with projects, and almost it never fails that the way a lot of good projects get together is they were part of a rugged project or maybe just a failed project before, and they all got to, you know, the remaining core members, team members get together and they're like, never again, you know, it's never going to happen again because we're going to put together something that kind of fixes the mistakes or, you know, rectifies some of the issues that were with the previous project. And it sounds like you guys, that's definitely how you kind of came together, is you worked with another project. It didn't work out for one reason or another, but you kind of learned a lot. And is that kind of what you think about, is that was a bit of education for you and the team?
Yeah, absolutely.
110% agree. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've literally set up our token in almost the opposite of every single issue there was with that particular token. And that's why we've gone about the transparency the way we have. We've made everything as visible as possible as holders. We've, as Johan was saying, we've got safeguards in place, like we have multi-signature 4 out of 5 protocol involved whenever we're dealing with marketing transactions, things that need to be paid. So 4 out of 5 of us need to sign off and for anything to be paid for. As well as that, you know, the marketing wallet's visible. We have whale resilient tokenomics in place, which has been a big help, especially early doors when we first started. Yeah, we've essentially, I mean, that amongst a whole list of other things.
Sure.
We had anti-bot and anti-sniper when we first launched, which played a big part in keeping us safe and keeping investors safe at the start.
Sure.
Because you see it all the time with new launches when someone just buys up, you know, 10%, 20% of the total supply out of nowhere at the beginning because they're ready to do it. But we had measures in place to stop all that, and that worked successfully. So, yeah.
Man, that's great. And I'm going to ask about that 4 of 5 multisig in a little bit, because that's very interesting to me. And yeah, I've got a few things I want to ask about that. But okay, so that gives me a good origin story of how you guys kind of met, came together, your background and that sort of stuff. But let's get into Kounotori itself. Okay, so it seems to be a pretty cool project, and everything that I have done in my research for it looks to be like it's heavily involved in maybe your returns in staking, your APYs that you might get for that. So For those that are in the room that have no clue what Kounotori is about, one of you guys, you can play paper, rock, scissors for who does this, but one of you guys give me a 10,000 foot overview of what Kounotori is and what makes it unique in the marketplace. What problem does it solve?
Do you want me to go?
Go for it.
Yeah, come on. You have the best
Okay,
voice out of our three.
Right. Well, if we're talking about the token itself, it's it's a fairly new token. We're just over 2 months old. It's unique in that it's a safe investment. As we've said, we've put all these protocols and safeguards in place. Currently, it's a relatively low market cap where we are, but we're holding steady. We're, as I say, most tokens you see launch at the moment, all these new tokens, they struggle to last, longer than a week. But over the just over 2 months that we've been around, we've grown exponentially. We've built a really strong community and formed partnerships and relationships that are going to help us grow and progress into the future. Yeah, as far as utility is concerned, what the coin is actually going to do, we're building a platform, and we've talked about staking, but I think based on how things have progressed, staking is just the start. What we're looking at doing is still focusing on one platform and keeping that very much focused on one sort of platform. But we're going to provide more services than we originally intended after speaking extensively with our coding team. They've got an absolute wealth of knowledge in the crypto space and working on blockchain. They've been doing it for an absurd amount of time. But essentially, we're looking to build a staking platform, but implementing new and exciting features that will make our token stand out, and offering a solid APY, 20% APY in return upon staking. But yeah, as I say, we originally started off looking just as a staking platform, but we're now looking at providing something quite a bit bigger. So anyone who is looking to invest in KTO or is invested in KTO currently, you're in a fantastic spot and in a safe spot as well, given the amount of safeguards and things we have in place. Yeah, I suppose that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, you've definitely, so yeah, a lot of your early, I don't want to say marketing or videos that I could find on YouTube, they definitely focused on staking. And now it sounds like you're looking to expand beyond just that. What was the thought process of expanding beyond it? Did you think like, okay, after you talk to your coding team, we can do more and therefore we should, just because you have the ability to? What was kind of the onus for wanting to expand beyond a staking platform?
The thing is that if you want to create staking platform, you can't just create money from air, like some staking does in crypto world. So we need another thing actually to get money in, to give money back to people. So that's the thing we are currently focusing on. That cash flow.
Man, I'm so glad you mentioned that, and so you mentioned it, so I didn't have to. Is a lot of other, and I was going to ask how you guys are wanting to solve for this. A lot of other staking platforms, I will stake my crypto, right? I'll stake it in there, and I will get, I'm going to pick numbers out of the air. I'll get 1 million tokens, right? And those millions of tokens will be worth, X amount of dollars. And then I'll stake it, and then, a week later, let's just say it's crazy good APR, and I get 10 million tokens. But those 10 million tokens then become worth 10% of what they were, the week before. So I gained all these tokens, but then they're not worth as much anymore. So that seems to be a problem with staking, only type of projects, is because there's no demand for them. It doesn't really, go up in value like you would think it would if you get, more and more and more tokens. So you guys, maybe that was the big part that you guys saw, is that, oh no, we want to have more than just that. Was it that sort of thinking to make sure that you had more than just staking, that you wanted your token to be valuable for other reasons?
Sorry, I just wanted to mention that something is going wrong with Twitter. People keep sending me messages that they can't join. So
You know, I just got that same type of message too from a co-host that I normally have on one of on the show during the week. Is there something weird whenever they're going to profiles? It's saying like retry something. You know, something went wrong. Please
Yeah,
retry.
yeah. I think whole Twitter is down at the moment.
It's a Twitter thing. If I could do something to fix it, I would. Here's the good thing. Let me give this. It is being recorded. So
Okay.
if somebody does want to hear it later, it is being, unless that part ends up being broken too. But you can see up at the top above.
I had some issues putting out some messages earlier today too, so I assumed it was an overall Twitter thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe Kounotori busted Twitter here with how strong their community is.
They broke Twitter. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well, they will be able to listen later. So sorry.
Okay.
Bad.
Yeah, we have that luck. After last AMA, Uniswap broke down, so
It did, yeah.
Y'all are just breaking blockchain, something that what isn't supposed to be possible. But these dang Web 2 platforms just don't seem to be quite as stable. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear all that's happening. But just to go with the other question is that limitation of staking, how you can get a lot more tokens, but they're decreasing in value, is that one of the reasons why you decided you wanted to be more than just a staking platform?
yeah, definitely, because we've seen that these staking platforms, we've seen the crazy returns, but it's just not working. We don't want to give people like 1,000,000% API or something. We just want to give them 20% static return. But in case to do that, we need to build something that will provide that money to give back to community.
Now, your community, it's obviously very large, breaking the internet, as we said. But I'm interested to know how their feedback was, because on a lot of staking platforms, you see a variable APY, right? So it'll be in the beginning, it'll be real high, and you'll see like a 3,000%, or I've seen crazy numbers in the beginning, and then it dwindles down as more users get into it over time. But you guys have chosen to do a flat APY, that 20% APY just flat. How's your community like that? Did they like the what am I trying to say? Easy, the easy calculations that just having a flat APY has, or have some of them said they would rather it be variable?
I think the flat rate marries really well with our entire concept and giving people a safe place to invest, where they don't have to worry about anything nefarious or malicious going on in the background. We've done various things like, as I said before, and including, obviously, we've had a Certik audit on our contract done. But yeah, the flat APY, I think it's just marries really well into that. It guarantees return on investment that's actually beneficial, even if you're a small holder. We looked at ways of doing that and how that would make sense without giving too much away. But we're so very, very close to sharing more details about what these improvements and what we've evolved our initial concepts into. But we're just literally finalizing the last few details. We've been speaking with the coders about this pretty much since the start. And when we were talking before about making all these concepts feasible and making sure they all make sense before progressing with them and doing this research period, that's what this is all coming to a head now. So we're very close. We should have some really cool stuff to share, including like a mock-up of what it's going to look like, which I can't wait to show you. But yes,
I love the mystery. Yeah, I love the mystery of what's coming. Maybe my next question has to do with what you're working on. So if it is, just plead the fifth or whatever. But for Ethereum, a problem with a small holder, if I'm gonna stake a little bit of Kounotori token, but I don't own a whole lot, is those gas fees, right? So I'm just wanting to stake $100 worth of Kounotori token, something like that, and those gas fees just can really eat it up and make it to where staking can be difficult for the small investor. Do you have anything that you want to do to be able to help out the small investor there because of gas fees, or is it merely a wait until ETH 2.0 comes out for that type of investor?
Actually, this is one of the main things we're looking at improving upon compared to the existing staking platforms on the Ethereum blockchain. It is gas fees. We've looked at many different ways of optimizing gas fees and figuring out how to minimize them. We've had many ideas, and now that we've run them past the coding company we're working with, we know they're all doable. And now it is just a matter of figuring out exactly how to put everything together with in such a way that we're going to be able to generate the cash flow for the 20% APR in combination with the reduced gas fees.
Okay, I knew that had to be one of the things you're working on, because it's a clear problem with a smaller investor. Now, if I'm putting in thousands of dollars into it and I get, you know, a $50 or $100 gas fee, then okay, that's kind of part of the deal. But yeah, for a smaller investor, I'm glad to hear that you guys are thinking about that. No wonder your community is so is so on board with you, because it looks to me that you're looking out for both the smaller investor as well as the larger investor. And for a flat APY, 20%, I mean, let's face it, that's a lot better than you're going to get at your local bank, which will not even get you a full integer of percentage point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets to be pretty bad. Well, here's what I want to talk about: your tax structure for a little bit, because I looked over your light paper, and you've got a really unique tax structure, and it scales as the token grows. Can you discuss, what made you decide on a scaling tax structure rather than a flat tax structure, given that you obviously like flat number calculations with your APY? So what made you decide to do scaling with the size of your token?
Well, I think what it allows us to do is it allows us to reward holders. And yes, you could do the same thing with a flat rate, but what we've obviously we've talked about in our light paper. If you haven't read the light paper, what we're looking at doing is, over time, we're looking at increasing the holder reflections and decreasing the marketing reflections, which are in ETH. The holder reflections are in the form of our native token KTO. But what we did is we implemented this sliding scale so that was the long-term goal. But then we're also able to hold these events, which have been received really well, where we can adjust the holder reflections and make them 8% for a couple of days, or 6%. We can hold, zero tax events. We've held things like no tax Tuesdays in the past, and all of this is possible due to the fact that we haven't renounced our contracts, which in itself, it does require a bit of trust, but we have restrictions in place in the contract that allow us, or stop us rather, from doing anything nefarious. We can't change things to the point where we pull liquidity or anything like that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned about the renouncing, because I was going to ask about that. And the reason I ask about it is I take you more seriously because you haven't renounced your contract. And I know, here's the thing: if you renounce the contract, sometimes it can make it to where you can't change something in your contract that you really need to, and then the only way to update it is by launching a version 2 of your project, which is a headache for both investors and the team alike. So I always like to see that a serious long-term project usually is not a renounced contract. Now, I know that you're going to have some people that are, will argue with me that says that, yeah, but I have more security with that renounced contract. And I guess on some level you do. But to me, if you're a long-term project and you're planning on being flexible or even getting on some centralized exchanges, you're going to have to give a little bit of trust to the team to have that, unrenounced contract. But you guys, this is where I wanted to get into the multisig part. You guys still have security measures in place to make sure that, no one does anything completely crazy. You went with the 4 of 5 multisig for, I guess that's for the marketing wallet, for anything that goes out. 4 of 5 is quite a bit. Do you ever have trouble getting 4 people all at the same time to sign off?
All the time. All the time.
Sorry, there you go.
Sometimes it's quite difficult to get for signatures. We have to wait a few hours or something. But it's part of the deal. Actually, we agreed for that. We always wanted to do that multisig, so we were aware that these things can happen.
Yeah, that was definitely a day one decision, was having multisig in place. It just offers that security for ourselves and, of course, the investors. So yeah, that's something that helps sort of balance the whole renounced contract scenario where you're saying quite rightly, yes, you have to have a bit of trust. But then also 110% agree with what you were saying about other projects and the fact that it really restricts you if you have problems with your contract and you find you can't do the things that you were planning to do, and suddenly your investor invest in something where you can't give them what you've actually set out to do. So, and then they have to airdrop the tokens, and it's just a complete fiasco, and people dump the price. So, yeah, no, we definitely wanted to stay away from that 100%.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, your community seems to be, first of all, rather large. They seem to be very, faithful to you and completely follow everything with you. How's community growth went over the course? You've been, launched for a few months. Have you been able to slowly gain more and more community over that time? Where is most of your marketing come from? Is it from the team paying for marketing? Is it from your community going out and kind of doing some grassroots type of community growth?
We've always been speaking to, and we've been set out to be speaking to various partners in the space. A lot of them, have a minimum requirement these days where you have a KYC audit in place, you have a Certik contract audit, and this is all stuff we planned on doing anyway. So that married really well together. But yeah, we've been speaking to some prominent figures in the space. We have a couple more lined up who we're in talks with. We partnered early on with Luna Strategy, who have worked with a number of larger cryptocurrencies, and we've been working closely with them, looking at our insights and analytics and what's working, what's not working. So that's going to give us a better projection of which direction to go going forward. But yeah, we've had really positive engagement based off of how they've taken over our social media platforms. They knock out some really strong, really good content and help us organize the events and the special days that we have planned. But then also we have members of the community who are doing a fantastic job, and they've jumped in and they've helped promote and push our project through Twitter. They've done a fantastic job, and we're actually looking at increasing their responsibility and giving them even more of a role to help out, given that they've been so fantastic.
Well, you guys, that goes. I mean, you guys have been a part. That's kind of how you guys started out, as being part of another project and being very active and being mods.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you get it as well as anybody about how passionate you can be about a project, and now they've got you as the team, which makes them, feel even better. So you also plan on some, or let me make sure you still do. Do you still plan on doing some Kounotori NFTs? Is that still in the roadmap?
Do you want me to jump in and talk about that one?
Yeah, jump in. I was just, trying to notify people that Twitter isn't working again.
Oh, yeah.
So sorry for that, because it started working.
We've released an NFT collection in the past, so around Christmas, and we're currently we're setting out to release our most recent collection, which was essentially like a tier 3 of for OG holders, based upon how early they invested. And
what was the art like? What did it look like on that December release? Was it Storks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, holiday themed Storks. They look really nice. The artist who did them, he's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this most recent collection, he's really outdone himself, and we're really looking forward to seeing what he creates in the future.
I'll have to. I will take a look at that. I'm very interested.
Absolutely,
yeah. They're a lot of fun, and yeah. If you is it going to be okay? I've got some now. My gears are turning about all the NFT things. First of all, well, let me first start asking, what made you go with a stork? Maybe this is even backtracking a little bit. What made you go with a stork as kind of your icon or your logo? Is there some kind of symbolism here that's escaping me?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first set out, we liked the idea of staking, and all these early concepts have remained. Nothing's really changed there. We wanted flat APY, as we've said, but we thought a good way of representing that was a stork, bringing a hamper back or something like that, so rewarding you in tokens. But then the more research we did on it, with Japanese culture, and we started to see that it married really well with this concept of a folklore story, where storks would dive into the lake and come back with treasure and gold instead of fish. So we thought, what an awesome concept that is, that you have the stork retrieving, treasure for your holders, and that's what you're doing when you're staking on the staking platform. You're putting your storks, your Kounotori into the pool, and receiving rewards in return. So,
and Kounotori means stork in Japanese, correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, you're right. That story would have went completely past me, and I'm glad you gave a little bit of the lore behind it. And you've done good branding with it. Like I said in the intro, you decided not to use a dog like every other token, it seems like.
Oh, yeah.
Stork. You're very unique in that way. And now you're making NFTs where you're doing, additional, stork imagery with the NFTs, and that sounds really cool. Is there any utility to the NFTs that you have? And if it's just artwork, that's great. I've seen some great artwork NFTs, but is there any utility you're wanting to have with them?
There will be a utility for those NFTs on our staking platform. So there are going to be some perks, some rewards for having them.
Okay.
But yeah, we can't really say anything else right now. It's just part of the planning process.
Yeah. You can't show everything. You can't pull the curtain completely back. So yeah, I definitely will be looking forward to that. So on you're about to come out with your next iteration of them. Is it merely for holders of the Kounotori token, or is this going to be, can somebody that doesn't hold get on a whitelist or something like that to mint?
It's going to be just for holders, and there's going to be different rarities. So people who were holding Kounotori between certain periods of time, so at an earlier date, and still haven't sold, are going to get the highest rarity of NFTs. And then each holder, regardless of how much they hold, for the most part, are going to get another rarity of an NFT. And then there's also a middle rarity. Each of them is going to have a different utility for the staking platform, different perks. So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, great. So you guys have quite a bit of a thought for that. So I want to get back a little bit to something that was asked earlier about the gas fees, because I think for a lot of what you guys do, like I said, for a smaller investor, gas fees can really kind of be a hindrance to that. Well, is there any other like decks or bridges or something like that to SushiSwap in order to lower the gas fees, or even like Matic swaps or something like that to lower gas fees? Is that something? And like I said, if I'm guessing too much, because like I said, I love a good mystery because I like to try to find out, who the killer is or something like that. If I'm prying too much, then just move on. But is that kind of something that you've looked at? Is using Matic swaps or something like that in order to get the gas fees lower?
Sorry. Yeah. What I wanted to say, I forgot. 1 second.
No problem.
Yeah, we've been planning actually to create bridge, at the time of launch, but it was almost impossible for us because it costed too much, and we would have to delay our launch for about 2 months. So we are still looking for option to create that bridge to probably Polygon. But it's for now we're just focusing on our platform and other things. So that's the thing here.
Okay, great. That's a great answer. There's a lot of building a project. It's kind of funny whenever you launch a token, everybody immediately wants everything done right then, almost on launch day. But there's so much work that gets into getting things done properly and on a proper time schedule. And it sounds like you guys, want to make sure that you do things correctly and do it right rather than, quickly, because sometimes quickly leads to it not being done right. So it's good on y'all for trying to, make sure things are done in a proper, the proper way rather than too quickly. Have you guys had any audit on your contract or anything like that to make sure that there's, all holes are plugged and everything is secure on your contract?
Yes, we've had a Certik audit. It went actually pretty well. We've had some issues about centralization, about the fact that contract isn't renounced. Certik doesn't really like it. So, but that's it really. The rest is absolutely fine.
That's really interesting to me. First of all, congrats on a Certik audit. That's the creme de la creme, the best in the industry standard for audits. But it also interests me that they said they had such a problem with the unrenounced contract, because I know for a fact that some of the biggest projects out there are unrenounced, and for good reason. For exactly what I said earlier, is that kind of helps them be pliable and can grow. So, just interesting question here. How much do they ding you for having an unrenounced contract? I mean, do they lower you like what I would consider like a full letter grade, or is it just kind of a slap on the wrist as far as their scoring system is?
Well, they determined that the unannounced contract is basically worth 2 major security issues, and major issues is the highest level of security issue a contract can have.
No, there's also critical.
Oh yeah, there's critical as well.
Major is second type.
So 2 of their second tier marks, the not critical, but whatever you said, severe, something like that. They consider that.
Yeah, what we did following the Certik audit and when it was released, we had an AMA, I think it was on Telegram, but we just went through the entire thing with the holders. I think it's on YouTube, I think it's uploaded. But we went through everything highlighting there, including the fact that it's renounced and, the fact that they mark you down for that, which I agree seems ridiculous. But yeah, as I say, we went through everything, explained why we did things in certain ways. We actually did a screen share and showed why, was it with Genosis, why it was rejecting, what was that again? Sorry, Johan, I've forgotten now.
Oh yeah, so one of the things that we were planning to do originally was put the contract ownership, transfer it over to the Genosis multi-signature, so that basically nobody can have access to the contract and change the values and the variables unless 4 out of 5 people sign it. However, the Genosis keeps reverting the contract ownership function, and it doesn't accept it. So we've demonstrated that on a video and a recording. We've also gone through the safety measures implemented in some of our other functions, like for example our transaction tax function. We've shown that it has a limit of 8% per category, so we can't just set the transaction tax to 100% and scam everybody. We've shown that on video, and there is also the transaction limit, which was shown in video that we can't change it below 0. Because the contract will refuse that value. All of these are safety features which we insisted on having within the code in order to frankly make everyone feel safer.
Yeah, so that was the thing. It was providing that investor confidence with actually having a contract audit and showing they've looked at it as well as ourselves and as well as the investors. And they gave it a score. They went through what they thought was wrong and what was right. And then after that, as Björn was saying, we went on AMA and just ran through the whole thing with them and explained, why it is we made that decision, why, that a minor flaw or whatever is there, and what. And so that was the thing. We just wanted to make everything as visible and clear as possible, and carrying on being as transparent as we have been in regards to everything else involved with the token.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, ultimately, you get an audit so that your community can feel, confident in what you're doing, and that's why you go for the Certik audit, right? But anything that they find, it sounds like post, release of their findings, you guys are able to be very transparent. You're able to put out videos to show what you can and can't do, and ultimately, transparency. Matter of fact, your website and your whole project really seems to really emphasize transparency. How have you tried to give people that feeling of transparency? Is it just videos like that? Is it AMAs like that? I mean, what are you doing to keep communication with your investors just to show them that, hey, we are completely transparent. We've been burned ourselves in other projects, so we know how it feels. What are you trying to do to really just give them that feeling of, hey, we're transparent and all cards are on the table?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in that position. We've been investors in projects, as you say. So from the get-go, it was important to have, as I say, multi-signature 4 out of 5 in place. Is important, and it was a big decision, but it was an important decision to dox ourselves and go through a rigorous KYC evaluation, contract audit as well, of course. And then having these safeguards implemented into the contract, making sure we can alter it to a degree where, we take money from the liquidity or something like that. So yeah, we've gone through all these measures just to reassure people, because it is, low market coins, low market cap coins. There's so many of them these days, and they're coming out of everywhere. But I think we've put just about every safeguard we can in place just to reassure investors. And yeah, being transparent and doing weekly AMAs on camera, showing our faces, and providing these explanations as well, for what we do and why we do it, I think is important. And if I was investing, I'd be happy with that sort of response. And we've had good feedback based on that. So we're just going to continue to do that.
So on your 4 of 5 multisig, which is a lot, maybe this has never happened before. You guys all seem on the same page, but let's say one of you disagreed and you're like, no, I don't want to pay this particular market, or I don't think they're worth anything. And, in the end, maybe the team voted and it was decided to do something that a few people said, no, I'd rather not do this. Does the team do good in doing the multisig, even if they disagree with the thought? In other words, kind of a majority rule where, like, okay, the team has decided this, therefore I'm going to add my my signature to this transaction, even if I disagree with it personally. Has that ever happened, or is it something that you have a plan for if it does happen?
There is definitely. Oh, sorry, you go, Adrian.
Okay, we have definitely democracy in our team, so yeah, we do things only if at least 4 people agrees for that, because we need 4 signatures. But we usually agree on pretty much everything. I mean, there wasn't any issues with spending money for marketing. We had some talks about bigger spendings, but at the end we all agree to do it or not.
Captain,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, on that, yeah, Captain, I wasn't sure if you were going to add to that or not, but yeah, I just wanted to ask because it's kind of interesting to think that somebody, it is a democracy, like you said, within your organization, but in the end, you've got to put that signature onto that wallet for transactions. And yeah, I was interested to know what would happen if ever there was such dissent that somebody said, "Well, no, I'm not signing it." But it sounds like you guys are all on the same page where that isn't as much of an issue for that. What do you guys have planned for marketing in the future? The market's kind of dipped down. Ethereum was doing so good for so long, and now it's dipped down a little bit. Are you guys doing more marketing now in the little bit of a lull that Ethereum has had, or are you kind of waiting until the market picks back up?
We've had actually few big marketing moves last weeks. We've had partnerships with Pop, with Austin Hulton, Zach Humphreys. We have signed monthly agreement with Ryan Patrick for YouTube videos, for AMAs. So we're pushing our marketing quite a lot. And yes, we're working for other marketing opportunities and more people, to join our project as our partners.
I got you. So it doesn't sound like you're necessarily in a lull at all. It sounds like you've still got YouTube, personalities that you are looking to target and to get your message out there with them. Let's talk about doxing for a second. You guys do. I mean, I've seen on YouTube, you'll put your face on camera and that sort of thing. Was that a big discussion in the beginning? And did anybody have any issues doxing themselves? Sometimes some people just don't want to do it because they don't feel comfortable on camera, not because they're hiding anything. But that was a decision that you guys made as a team. How did that decision go? Was there much talk about it, or was it an easy decision that everybody agreed with?
For the most part, we all together agreed that it was the right thing to do, and that we would want to invest and support only tokens, the developers of which are doxed. For some of us, we had to give it a bit more consideration, simply because, frankly, we don't like putting ourselves out there. But essentially, for the better of the token, and because we've been in the position of investors and we know how, what's the word I'm looking for, how much tension can be built by not actually knowing who the developers are, by not even knowing if they're real people, like where they live, how do they look. There's this barrier in between the investors, the community, and the developers, and you never know what they're going to do because you can't really hold them accountable to anything. You just see an avatar, a photo of whatever, and that's it.
Captain, you had your mic unmuted. Were you going to add to that, or?
Oh, I suppose I'd just add on what he was saying, and the fact, that we're prepared to do camera AMAs weekly and put ourselves out there, engage with investor questions about the projects in and out of AMAs. I mean, we do it on our Discord, which is very active and has a lot of passionate, really amazing people in it, as well as our Telegram and our Twitter. But yeah, no, that was I was just adding to that.
Yeah, no, I wanted to hear what you had to say with it. But yeah, for a team and token and project that emphasizes transparency as much as you guys do, I guess I feel like you almost had to as much. I mean, you can't talk as transparency as highly as your project does, and then kind of hide behind, and not be seen. So you guys are definitely out front and don't seem to have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, it was definitely something that we, as I say, we discussed it, and we, as a couple of us, were a bit hesitant at the beginning, but no, for the betterment of the token and the betterment of the project, 100%, we were all behind it. Yeah, no.
Great. Well, you've got several places, I think, you know, on the net that people can keep up with you. Where's the best social media to follow Kounotori to find out what the latest and greatest is?
Between Discord, Telegram, Twitter. I mean, we put out regular announcements on our Discord and Telegram all the time. Whenever there's something to announce, we put it out and everyone's alerted. But then, yeah, of course, Twitter. I mean, we're constantly Lunar Strategy, who are managing that, are constantly updating the community with new information and events that we're holding.
I got you. So you have a presence in, it sounds like, several of them, because I'll tell you this, I see this all the time, where a lot of the community will pick one social media to really hang out at. So maybe it's Discord and the Twitter is kind of dead, or maybe it's Telegram and the Discord is kind of dead. But it sounds like you guys have a decent amount of community at each place. How do you do that? Do you have your own mods for each individual social media?
Yeah, we have bots for Telegram and for Discord. About Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Lunar Strategies is mostly dealing with this.
Sure, with AMAs and things like that, which we're glad you're here. I got note that maybe the Twitter issues are being resolved or have been resolved as well. So hopefully that we're having issues are able to get back on, and if they aren't, then like I said, it is recorded. Well, you guys have a lot of fun things, or I shouldn't say fun things, but a lot of things in front of you on the roadmap ahead, including the NFT release. So, and you said that's for holders of the current Kounotori token. What's the minting price going to be? So if I want to go out and buy me some Kounotori token and I want to get one of these NFTs, what's the cost and minting price going to be? Or maybe you don't know yet.
For now, we just have NFTs for our holders. We're gonna mint them and send those NFTs to holders. So we're not gonna
them. It's not like they get a whitelist. You're literally just sending them the NFTs to their holders. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
That's great. That is great, because normally, and that's why I think I made that assumption, is normally it'll be something like, oh, if you do this, then you get on the whitelist, and then you can mint it yourself, and it's going to cost you 0.15 ETH or something like that. But instead, you're looking to reward your holders for being long-standing holders and do that. It's this kind of decisions is why your community is probably so behind you, because they feel like you've got their back. Does that ever lead, you guys joined in from being part of another project that didn't work out, and you kind of have that feeling of you are investors. Yes, you're team members now of your own project, but does that feeling of being an investor in projects ever really leave you, or is it just something that kind of sticks with you going forward?
Martin, are you there?
If we got somebody rugged, then that's fine. If they aren't able to.
Because I see he's unmuting and muting his mic. I just was hoping he would answer. Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I was just saying, is your community really liking, that you've got a lot of things in the future? And just ultimately, I was just asking, how is your community liking how you're progressing right now? Are they very supportive? Are they still kind of going out and doing, a lot to be able to watch your AMAs, to come here to Twitter and that sort of thing?
I mean, in my opinion, we have the best community ever. We have, lots of different stuff going on, usually on Discord, because majority of our community is on Discord. We have people who are seriously involved in shilling our token on Twitter, on Reddit, or 4chan, and other social media. And, it's absolutely crazy for me that so many people is trying to help us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me give you a little invite here. If you heard me in the beginning, I was giving a little bit of a intro into what Traderverse will be. So Traderverse will be its own social media network, competing with other things like YouTube or even Twitter, and competing because its audience will, Twitter and YouTube, you can see cat videos and find out what somebody had for breakfast, right? But Traderverse will be very trader-centric, to where many people that trade, crypto or trade NFTs or stocks, they will be right there in Traderverse. And so we'll have our own audio video streaming platform. Eventually we'll have colonies, which will be something much like a Discord server. So let me throw out kind of an invite, as I would love for you guys, whenever we do launch, to have some amount of presence on Traderverse, because first of all, we may do AMAs like we're doing right now on that platform, but two, there will just be a lot of potential investors, you know, right there on the platform. So those projects that get in early, you know, there won't be as many projects on there, and therefore more eyes may be on their platform. So let me throw out that introduction to make sure you follow us, and whenever that platform does get released, I invite you to put some content out on it.
And what
Yeah,
I would
absolutely,
say,
definitely
what
interested.
I would say is, you know, a lot of companies that are also launching tokens, which we, you know, a token which we will be doing, you know, kind of look at other communities sometimes as competition. We're actually the opposite. We want to welcome you guys in, join into each other's communities, and you know, get the message out together. Together we're stronger. So we are really appreciative that you guys could join in today and hear about your project. It's been really eye-opening for us, and we, you know, as Voice of DeFi had mentioned, you know, we would love to welcome you in and get your message out to the greater community.
Thank you.
Can everyone hear me okay now? I'm not sure what was going on with my microphone. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't
So
talk.
were you just spitting poetry and nobody heard it before, huh?
I was literally just talking to myself for about 30 seconds.
Oh, no.
No, absolutely no, fantastic. Yeah, no, we'll definitely make sure that we work together and can do some content on your platform. That sounds excellent.
Excellent. Well, and just like Hawk said, this isn't something that we're looking to do as competition, you know, because we'll have our own token. But no, our token that will be part of Traderverse is really just part of its ecosystem to you know, to make a social media network happen. And so, yeah, we would love to have you put out some content on there. And like I said, in the initial stages, there will be, you know, fewer creators, but more content consumers on there. So it'll be a good chance to be able to get your message out and everything like that. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being on here, for giving a little bit of, you know, your thoughts, pulling back the curtain to what Kounotori is all about. If you heard them say earlier, the best place to keep up with them is either Twitter or their Discord server, or they also have a Telegram channel as well. So make sure you follow Kounotori to kind of follow along with what they have coming on. They have a new NFT project coming out, and they're just looking to progress this roadmap to where they can bring you back a good staking, a flat rate of staking, which is really unique to them to have that 20% flat rate staking return. So check them out. It certainly is a better return than you're going to get at your local bank. No matter where you are in the world, it's going to be a better return than you're going to get at your local bank. So check out Kounotori Token, learn about their project, learn about their very transparent team that they have, where they can just tell you everything that they've got going on and what they have in the future. I really appreciate you guys coming in and just letting us know about everything. I really do think you've given a great AMA here.
Thank you very much for having us. And I'd like to take this moment to thank everyone for being here, for being a part of our community and supporting us all the time. And I'd also like to take the moment to make an announcement that we've been in communications with a particular centralized exchange, a small one where we can list Kounotori in the upcoming week, I believe. Jaren can confirm. The reason we chose a small exchange is because it's not going to cause a massive pump on the token price, which inevitably would lead to a dump. And we want to keep the growth sustainable over time, but we still wanted to enable our Stork holders to be able to buy Kounotori without having to worry about the horrible gas fees of the Ethereum network.
For sure. Man, you guys are thinking about everything, whether it be horrible gas fees or the dump that happens after a pump of being on a huge centralized exchange. But yeah, great that you were able to release a little bit of info here at the end here, if you didn't hear that. Looking at a smaller centralized exchange, which would be great and help get more eyes on the project, which can help bring in more investors and ultimately more people into the community, which may be some of the most important to do. So fantastic little announcement there at the end. I hope everyone's able to hear that live that wanted to. I know Twitter's having some problems right now. I hate that you guys, every time you guys do an AMA, something's happening wrong. It sounds like you had an issue on a previous one, and Twitter too. It just bad luck, right?
It's usually me in Spaces. I mean, this has been the best Spaces I've been on, because usually I disconnect constantly. I have no idea why. I think I'm just cursed. But yeah, no, really appreciate you for letting us speak about the project on here, and hopefully everyone has enjoyed what they've heard.